सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. ॐ.
Okay. Vivekacudamani, verse number 16. To concentrate the intellect always upon the pure Brahman and to keep it fixed there always. This is called self-surrender. This does not mean soothing the mind like a baby with idle thoughts. Longing for liberation is the will to be free from the fetters of ignorance, beginning with the ego sense and so on, down to the physical body itself, through the realization of one's true nature. In other words, devotion can be defined as the search for the reality of one's own Atman. The seeker after the reality of Atman, who possesses the above-mentioned qualifications, should approach an illumined teacher from whom he can learn the way to liberation. A teacher is one who is deeply versed in the scriptures, pure, free from lust, and a perfect knower of Brahman. He is established continually in Brahman, calm like the flame when its fuel is consumed, an ocean of the love that knows no ulterior motive, and a friend to all good people who humbly entrust themselves to him. Let the seeker approach the master with reverent devotion. Then, when he has pleased him by his humility, love, and service, let him ask for whatever is to be known about the Atman. That's it.
So, any questions for the verses, or Andrew can continue with the commentaries from my Guru Swami Paramarthananda from the transcript until we have questions.
I just had one comment.
Yes.
I was just listening to Swamiji talking on maybe verse 18 or 19. And he's talking about, he didn't name anybody, he just said he's talking about mystics. And he basically said, you shouldn't have a mystic as your guru. I know you've talked about this before, but it struck me as quite a statement.
Yes, this is very, very important. And most of the people, they believe that a mystic can play also the role of a guru. But this is wrong as per the scriptures and the holy tradition. So the mystic is somebody who can bestow to us inspiration, great inspiration, blessings and grace. And we can go to him or her and do Sastraprakasika, namaskaram, like prostrate to him or her and to receive all this inspiration, grace, and blessings. But a mystic cannot play the role of a guru. And why is that? Because the mystic don't have the tools and the methodology and all the instructions and the way to convey the teaching as per the scriptures and the Guru Parampara. So a lot of people, millions of people, they say my guru is, for example, the great sage Ramana Maharishi. Although Ramana Maharishi was really a great jnani and a great sage, of course, he gave to humanity such a big inspiration and such wonderful teachings, but he himself was not part of a Guru Parampara in his last lifetime. So he had, of course, according to our tradition, of course, he had a guru or many gurus in his previous janmas, previous lifetimes. And he arrived in this spiritual maturity in his last lifetime, where he didn't have the need of a guru parampara, the need of scriptural study, and the need of a guru. But that is a rare phenomenon, a very extremely rare phenomenon. And it's not for all the ordinary people, common people. Now, a lot of fake teachers from the circles of the so-called non-duality path, which of course does not exist such a path, and a lot of people from these circles, also as the circle of Neo-Advaita or Neo-Vedanta, all these fake teachers, they use, as an example, Ramana Maharishi, among other sages as well, to propagate this misconception that you can, for example, do self-inquiry alone by asking, like a parrot, all day long, who am I, who am I, who am I, who am I? And just focus on the inner guru. All this is a great mistake, and this will lead, as already is leading, millions and millions of people to ignorance, darkness, and confusion. So we can of course study the teachings of Ramana Maharishi, and we can take a lot of inspiration from this great sage, but without a living guru, external guru, who is part of a holy guru parampara, it is impossible to have any progress in the procedure of self-realization moksha. It is impossible, 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 just by reading Ramana Maharishi or any of these fake teachers who provide themselves with the title of Sishya of Ramana Maharishi or similar mystics, great mystics and sages. It is impossible, impossible, impossible to have any progress in self-realization moksha. Because a lot of things that Ramana Maharishi did say need a lot of explanation and a lot of clarification. And if you don't have a real guru, an external guru, who can convey to you the exact meaning of the sayings, let's say, of Ramana Maharishi, then you will just remain in confusion. And of course, that is the same with many, many other scriptures. Without a living guru who can be there for you as a great friend to answer all your questions and to clarify all your doubts and to solve all your reservations, you are doomed to darkness, ignorance, and confusion. So Ramana Maharishi inspired millions and millions of people to find out what means Advaita Vedanta. And it is the great gift of Ramana Maharishi to humanity. Because as Ramana Maharishi said, the greatest gift that you can offer to humanity is your own self-realization, and then the help for Loka Sangraham, for the upliftment of humanity. But nevertheless, without the external guru, an alive external guru who is a member of a living tradition, an Advaita tradition, a guru parampara, it is impossible to find out the real path. Of course, the inner guru is the real guru and the profound guru and the ultimate guru. And this guru is your own nature as Brahman, infinite consciousness awareness. But the problem is that the body-mind complex and the ego, ahankara, is veiling through the power of the Maya and creates the illusion. And this veiling cannot allow for somebody to be in real contact with this inner guru, the ultimate guru. And that is the necessity for the external guru. And of course, the real guru will try to help the sishya, the student, the seeker, the mumukshu, the desire for moksha, to find out as soon as possible this ultimate guru, his or her inner self with capital S. So the self with capital S is the ultimate, the most profound guru, but it is veiled. It is veiled through Maya, through ignorance, avidya. And through the self-knowledge and through the methodology and the Guru Parampara and the scriptural study and the dharmic lifestyle as per the Dharma Sastra, and Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, we will be able to reveal to ourselves our true absolute Guru. But until then, to study the teachings of Ramana Maharishi or to follow the so-called gurus, sishyas, or students of Ramana Maharishi, it is the greatest mistake that somebody can do. The only solution is to study as much as you like Ramana Maharishi, the great sage Ramana Maharishi, and all his teachings, but under the guidance of a competent guru who lives inside an alive tradition, an alive, holy, sacred Guru Parampara. There is no other solution. And also, I want to add that there are many others, like the sage, the great sage Ramana Maharishi, like Nisargadatta Maharaj, from another tradition called Inchagiri Sampradaya, and many, many, many others. But the problem is that although some of them, they were close to some Sampradayas, some Guru Paramparas, they were not so much close enough to be able to receive all the methodology and all the tools and all the scriptural study which is needed so that they can convey the true teaching, the true meaning of the teachings to their students. So this is a great problem nowadays. And if humanity will not understand that, then always we will see confused people who believe that by asking, who am I, who am I, who am I, all day long, that this will bring a result. The scriptures themselves, they describe how Atma Vichara, self-inquiry, should be done. It should not be done through asking this question all day long. It should be done, Atma Vichara, through Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, through the guidance of a competent guru and the Guru Parampara instructions. And after you have received the way to self-inquiry, Atma Vichara, through the Sravanam, listening and study under the guidance of the competent guru, the scriptures, then you do with the guru the Mananam procedure, which means you clarify the teaching. You ask as much as possible to receive clarity from the teaching through asking questions and dealing with all your doubts together with the guru. After, when you don't have any other doubts, you have to do Nididhyasanam, the Vedantic meditation, whereupon you will internalize the teaching that you have received through Sravanam the teaching that you had clarified through Mananam, now you need to internalize through Nididhyasana, through the Vedantic meditation. You need to make it your own truth, not data gathering, not informations that you just have received from an external source. And you have to make these truths, these teachings, your own truths, your own teachings, without any doubts and without any reservations of any kind. And this is the whole procedure. At the same time as you do Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana, under the guidance of the Guru, who is, of course, member of the Guru Parampara, you need to support this process with living a dharmic lifestyle as per the Dharma Sastra, and by dealing with your attachments. Because even if you follow all these instructions, but you allow all your attachments to be there, then the result again will be zero. And that's why it's what we see as a phenomenon in the West. A lot of people are following these fake gurus, these fake teachers of non-duality, so-called non-duality path, or Neo-Vedanta or Neo-Advaita, and they keep going with sense gratification and ego gratification. They just enjoy life, they just have fun, they don't they don't work with their attachments, and at the same moment, they are creating a huge pride for their ego by saying to others, I'm not a common person. I follow non-duality path. I have this such and such guru, and I have, I'm studying Ramana Maharishi or others. And they believe that by just reading books and without an external guru, a living guru, and without being members of a Guru Parampara, they believe that they will do Atma Vichara, self-inquiry, by themselves. That is a great mistake, a very big misconception that will lead them all the time in darkness, ignorance, and confusion. I don't know if you want me to elaborate more on this.
I'm just curious, you know, the importance of a living tradition. What is it? What is a living tradition? Why is it so important? Has it got some kind of inherent power to bless and the disciples' mind? Not just the obviously it has a methodology that's tried and tested, but is it more than that?
Yes, except the methodology that you very correctly mentioned, and all the tools that can be provided, and all the systematic study and conveying of the teaching on the right perspective. It is the grace and the blessings of all the living masters of the past. All these jnanis and all these sages who used this holy tradition for their own self-realization, they are bestowing all these blessings and their grace to the new seekers who will enter this Guru Parampara. So it's like you receive a great, it's like a great booster, a great starting point, especially if you receive Diksha, a sacred initiation of a sacred mantra through one of these gurus. For Satchitananda himself, it was a great experience and a great blessing to receive the sacred mantra of Shiva from His Holiness, the successor, Sringeri Jagadguru. And it is like it opened a new chapter, even a new lifetime for Satchitananda. It was like a great blessing and great grace. And it gives such a big inspiration and a huge help for either to share these beautiful teachings and to convey the teachings to humanity, or for those who are still on the level of receiving these studies and study under the guidance of a competent guru, it will be a great blessing, a great start. And since you mentioned that, all the participants of these classes and all the coming classes, future classes, are always most welcome to receive this Diksha, this sacred initiation from this body-mind complex. It will be a great pleasure to share this holy blessing, this great Diksha, to all those who wish to receive it. And of course, as all people know, Satchitananda is never charging for anything at all, and everything that he offers, it is always free of charge. And it will always be like that. So if people, they want to receive this great blessing, this big grace from the Guru Parampara, as Satchitananda received it from Sringeri Jagat Guru, they are most welcome to arrange with Andrew this meeting so they can receive it. And it's not only the Diksha, it's also the support that you can receive from this sacred atmosphere. It is also the vibes and the inspiration and the help, constant help that you can receive from the Guru Parampara. Let's say that Satchitananda will need to go as a physical appearance, the body-mind complex, let's say that needs to go into the transition, what we call death. Of course, there is no such thing as death, but let's say that Satchitananda tomorrow will pass into this transition as the body-mind complex. All the participants in these classes and all the Sishyas of Satchitananda can go and meet another guru from this Guru Parampara and never be lost. But imagine all these people who are without this atmosphere, this safe environment, and their teacher is going as a physical appearance, going into this transition we call death. What they will do, where they can go for asking help and support. Even the scriptures are full of contradictions, apparent, of course, contradictions. So let's say we have in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying in one verse, everything is in me. And then in the next verse, he says, nothing is in me. And then you say to yourself, this is a huge contradiction, what I should believe and what I should take from these two verses. They are seamlessly, completely contradictory, apparently, of course. So where you will go to ask for the clarification and for this dilemma? You will go to ask your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your wife or your husband or your friend or one of your relatives or somebody you believe he's an educated person, a cultured person. But even if you go and ask, how you can be sure that the person you are asking is capable to convey the right understanding and the right meaning of the teaching. Since he didn't receive from the holy tradition, the lineage, the sacred lineage, the Guru Parampara, how you can be sure that what you receive as an answer is the true one? But when we have a Guru Parampara, we have a safe environment. You always know where to go as the source and to find out the real meaning of the teaching. And Satchitananda many times had a kind of not certainty about certain talks of his guru, Swami Paramarthananda. But by listening again and again and again and again, for minimum 8 to 10 hours every day, his teachings and his classes, he was able to clarify everything and to be sure of what each and every one of the verses wants to convey. And he is there, he is the source, and whoever wants to receive the purest and most clear teaching of the Upanishads, Advaita Vedanta, his transcripts are always there. Anybody can download them for free and can listen and can study again and again and again. And Satchitananda is here only to help, not to provide a new teaching. The teaching is already there. So the purpose of these classes is to maintain the safe environment of the Guru Parampara and to always point out to the source. Which is the source? It is Advaita Vedanta. It is the Guru Parampara, the sacred lineage, going back to Adi Shankaracharya himself and previously to all the other sages and rishis of the past. So we are here only to provide help, to help in the understanding, but the teaching is always there, always waiting for you, either to listen through the talks of my guru or to study through the transcripts and then to ask for clarification. And if Satchitananda was sure that Swami Paramarthananda has infinite time and can help each and everybody, maybe Satchitananda will never decide to do this kind of providing help. But Swami Paramarthananda is full of classes and full of teachings every day. So this was the idea behind these classes and behind these efforts to propagate his teachings. And even I've said that many times, even if Satchitananda, due to bad English expression, will do some kind of mistakes in conveying the teachings, then anybody should receive as the correct teaching from the transcripts of my guru or from the talks of my guru. And having said that, we can, if there is no other question, we can go into the reading from the transcripts of my guru, Swami Paramarthananda.
Page 40, verse number 16. 26 in the original. This verse deals with the sixth subdivision of the third qualification of internal wealth or discipline, 3F, the final subdivision. It is called Samadhanam. All this we have seen in Tattva Buddha. Students must remember here. Samadhanam is mental concentration or focusing faculty. Sarvada Stapanana. There's another reading also, a beautiful reading. Samadhanam is derived from the root dadati, sam. Sam and are prefixes. Dati is clearly and without wandering, fixing the mind on an object for a length of time. Concentrating on a field for a length of time is samyak. Generally, our mind is of a wandering nature, especially when the Rajaguna is predominant. The mind will be restless, preoccupied, and wandering. And we have to develop the focusing faculty. In Vedantic scriptures, a separate exercise is prescribed, which is called Upasana Yoga or meditation, which is part of Karma Yoga. Shankaracharya says Karma Yoga Samadhi Yoga. And again in the 4th chapter of the Gita. A part of Karma Yoga is Samadhi Yoga, which I call Upasana Yoga, practice of daily meditation to develop focusing faculty. And for meditation, we make use of God as an object of meditation. All the 3 versions of God, God as one, God as a particular deity, on Rama, Krishna, etc., we try to dwell upon for some time. 2, Visvarapu Ishvara. Later, we dwell upon Upadu Yasyanabihi, etc., which is again meditation only. 3, and later we come to Vedanta. We meditate on Bhagavan as the absolute reality without any attributes. Nirguna Brahma or Suddha Brahma. Thus we meditate focusing on Ekarupa, Visvarupa or Suddha Brahma. This process is called Citta Samadhanam. Another word used for this in yoga is Samadhi. This alone is here called Samadhanam. So Sude Brahmani Sarvada. After coming to Vedanta, a spiritual seeker is introduced to Nirguna Brahma. By consistent and systematic study, first I should understand what is Nirguna Brahma, and later I keep my focused mind in that for some time. This is called Nididhyasanam. Not in the beginning. After studying Vedanta for some time, I understand Nirguna Brahman myself. Dwelling upon Brahmanas myself is called Citta Samadhanam, concentration. In fact, any concentration is Samadhanam. Here, Sarvadastapanam Buddhe Brahmani, concentration on Brahman. Sarvada, always with commitment. Stapanam, fixing, focusing. Buddhehe, of the intellect or mind. And Sude Brahmani Sarvada, focusing on the 3rd version of God called Nirguna Brahman, the pure reality without any attributes. But Bhagavan as pure reality, and what is that reality? That is what we're going to study hereafter. We can add Sarvada Sava Prakarana, at all times, through, by various methods. There are 3 levels of Vedantic study. 1, Shravanam, listening from a teacher. 2, Mananam, reflecting over the teaching. And 3, Nididhyasanam, dwelling upon the teaching. Through Shravanam, through Mananam, and through Nididhyasanam, through different intellectual exercises, we are always keeping our intellect only in the ultimate reality. The type of exercises vary, But the object on which we are all centered is Brahman alone. In fact, so Sarvada Sravana Mananandididhyasana Rupena Sude Brahmana Stapanam Tat Samadhanam It Yutkam. Possibly. This is called the concentration faculty. In fact, we will know how much concentration we have only when we start attending Vedanta classes. Are we able to keep our mind in the class throughout, or does it wander? Many of us experience fluctuations in focus. 5 minutes we listen, 5 minutes the mind goes all around. So without any distraction, without being a scatterbrain, if I can remain in the class, it is a fantastic thing, worth working for. That samadhanamit yuktam. This is called the internal faculty of concentration. Natu chitasya lananam. Popular meaning of lananam is fondling, like a child, etc. But in this context, lananam means pampering the mind or allowing the mind to do whatever it wants, letting the mind loose, to go astray. Let loose, allow to wander, indulge, be a scatterbrain. Nowadays, because we are doing many things together, Vedanta Shravanam is also done during walking, jogging, during treadmill, etc. We've got so many things to do. Always we do many things simultaneously, multitasking. You will not listen at all if I say, don't do this. But Sastra never admits that. Vedanta Shravana must be done 100% exclusively, even if you're doing many things simultaneously. If you are a serious student, at least one class you should listen to exclusively without any other distraction. This is called Samadhanam. Then alone, 100% Shravanam will take place. Very important. One class at least, a student must do that. I know it is available in internet, CDs, etc. Swamiji will be talking and the other people around will also be talking. So now and then Swamiji's words will fall in the ears. For many, it becomes a lullaby. If it is not there, they can't do anything. Anyway, I'm not asking to change your habit. My suggestion is, if a person is a committed spiritual seeker and wants the benefits of Vedanta here and now, at least one class, once a week or once a month, should be listened without any other activity, with samadhanam, with total focus. So this is called samadhanam, natu chitasya lalanam, not multitasking. So with this, the sixth subdivision is also completed. All the six, samadhamma, uparamati, tiksa, shraddha, samadhanam, put together is called satkasampati. And a side note, of these six, for four of them, samadhamma, urparama, and samadhanam, sometimes you find that the meanings are given slightly different in other books. Even Tattva Bodha text, if you compare, sometimes you'll find there are differences in the shades of meaning. But overall, these are the six we have to note. Now we will go to the fourth main qualification, verse number 17. Anybody got a question? My mouth's getting dry.
I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
There was some mention in that reading about wandering thoughts and, thoughts just doing whatever they want to do. And especially because I've been retired and I don't have to focus on work and these things that before I would have had long periods of time of focusing my mind. Now I'm just kind of wandering through my days, working in the garden or whatever. And I've noticed these thoughts that arise, and it's just almost comical, because it's like, who is this thinking these thoughts? It's just, it's not me. It's almost like a bad habit. So the things that arise lately are problem solving. So like all of a sudden my mind will for instance, my dentist lost his lease and has to move. And I had learned that while I was at the dentist, but by the time I got home, it's like it comes out of the subconscious or something. I'm, deadheading little dead flowers in my garden. And all of a sudden the mind is starting to figure out what he's going to do with his computer system, because he's going to move to a temporary location. It's just like, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to figure out how my dentist is going to move his computer equipment. But that's the analytical nature and intensity of my mind. It will start to, I have to discard it. Now I catch it and go, no, I'm not going to follow you down that rabbit hole. But really irrelevant problem solving my mind suddenly wants to do. Where does that come from? What should I do about it?
Yes, the thinking process for most of the people is constant. And most of the people believe that they are their mind. But the mind is only an observed object. It is also something which is not ourselves, our real selves. And one method that it can help really is, instead of focusing in the thoughts, is to focus on the screen where the thoughts do appear and disappear. I used to use another symbol or an example. Rather than focusing in the clouds, focus in the sky itself. Like what you really are as infinite consciousness, awareness, or Brahman, or presence, cannot be affected by the constant flow of thoughts. So yes, this will help to focus on the screen where the thoughts do appear and disappear. And by focusing again and again in the screen, the thoughts have the tendency to lose their power. Actually, the thoughts do not have any power at all. It is by becoming attached to the thoughts that they gain power. So try to focus in the sky, not in the clouds. The clouds will come, they will pass, and the sky will remain always the same. The same with, as an example, the ocean and the waves. The ocean have no any awareness of the waves. The same with Brahman, the true nature, the true self with capital S. Brahman don't have any awareness of whatever appears and disappears. The one who can notice the changes it can be only the Chiddabhasa, the reflected consciousness. When we have an apparent individual being with its reflected consciousness, then we can speak about observations of any kind, or sensations or perceptions. And then the perceptions, again, the observations are due to the reflected consciousness. So it is not a problem at all if the thoughts do appear and disappear. The problem is when we become attached to them. We give them power. And it should be a constant practice not to consider that the mind or the thoughts are yourself. You should always looking at it as a movie in the screen, as something that you don't have anything to do with that. Like say that Cyril is just watching a movie in the screen with somebody having thoughts. but I am what is watching the movie, the witnessing consciousness, which is called Satchitananda in Sanskritam terminology. So never focus on the perceptions of any kind, or the mind itself, or the thoughts, or the emotions. Turn back the attention to the witnessing consciousness, Satchitananda. And the more you do that, the more often, the more it becomes stronger. It creates an accumulative effect, and sooner or later, it will appear a mature state where you don't need to do any practice at all. You will just observe anything, just like imagination, just dreaming in front of you, but without any power to affect you. Because whatever you see and whatever you have as thoughts or emotions or other apparent humans or other apparent objects, it is just everything appears and disappears in you, not out there. Everything is you, consciousness. Whatever appears and disappears in you, the screen of consciousness. And this screen of consciousness, awareness Brahman, is singular. There are no many consciousnesses, no any human being or any apparent being has its own consciousness, as people believe. There is only one consciousness, one awareness, one presence, one Brahman, and there is only that. And this is what you are. So you should not really be bothered about the flow of thoughts. This is called even in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and even the Dvaitic paths, the dualistic paths, they consider the thoughts as vrittis, as just waves in the ocean, which waves cannot affect the ocean itself. So whether there are thoughts or non-thoughts, what you really are cannot be affected and cannot be modified by any means. But if you have a thought and then you become attached to this thought and you give it power, and then of course it will affect you. It's like you have some visitors in your home and you don't give them any attention. They're coming, some people, from the first door, the entrance. You don't give them any attention. You don't offer them sweet or tea or coffee. And they become bored and they go out again. Just something like that. No need of any indulgence, and you don't need to get involved. Just play with that, look at it, but do not give it any importance. Also, the thoughts cannot stay forever. Did you ever have a thought which lasted more than 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
So by itself, everything self-liberates, and what you really are remains always unaffected. Everything is impermanent. And the only permanent absolute reality is the real you, consciousness, awareness, Brahman. All the rest don't have any power, and they are just appearances. Okay?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sounds so easy when you say it.
It needs practice, of course. But the more you practice, you will see that it will become very, very beneficial to you. It will become really useful, this practice. Try not to get identified with the thoughts. Say all the time in yourself, I'm not the mind, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the emotions, I'm not all the perceived things, even the body of Cyril, it's not what I am. I'm what is watching, the witnessing consciousness, Satchitananda. And by claiming your true nature, by declaring your true nature, It's like you are using the Mahavakyams. I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, or Tat Tvamasi. I am that. I'm that which is the only true reality. And the more you are claiming, the more you are declaring your true nature as a great statement, the more it becomes powerful. The more you become attached in the thoughts and believing that you are the thoughts, you are the mind, you are your emotions, you are the body, the more this will get maintained and will get strengthened. So
Yeah.
you need to change the narrative. You need to change your mentality. And this is what Advaita Vedanta actually is doing. It helps us to remove all these false notions. I am the body-mind complex, ahankara, I am the ego, I am a person, I am my thoughts, I am my emotions. And of course, when you have this false belief, then of course you will experience suffering. This is called samsara. You become a samsari. But if you try to follow the advice of Advaita Vedanta and remember who you really are by claiming your true nature as impersonal, infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman, then all this will get completely weak sooner or later. It needs practice.
I think what I was doing actually is because I could see them and I know these thoughts are just arising, but I think where I was causing myself a little bit of suffering was I was judging them. I was like, where are these thoughts are crazy. Where are they coming from? It was more like they almost scared me, like, wow, they just keep arising, these thoughts that I don't even necessarily want to have, or it's like they're just there. And I don't know, just more kind of freaked me out, like there's something living in my head with these thoughts arising. It was more of my confusion about them, I think.
But it cannot affect the real you. It's because you believe that you are your thoughts, or you have a mind, you are somebody who have a mind, that all this seems dangerous or bothering you. But if you remember the teachings, if you try to claim, to discover your true nature, and to declare after your true nature as per the scriptures, then you will be able not to give them any importance. You are like a space. You are even that which can accommodate even space. Consciousness, awareness, Brahman, your true nature, is so subtle that it can accommodate even space. So how it can be affected, how it can be harmed by any means, there is only that. And what you really are is always impersonal. It cannot be affected. It is always unmodified by the appearances in itself. It is always the same. What is the difference between the awareness now, which is here and now, than when Cyril was in the basic school classes? Is there any difference?
No.
It's the same presence, the same awareness, the same consciousness. And if we are able to ask you after 10 trillion years, what is the difference between you awareness now and before 10 trillion years, you will say no difference at all. It's like you want to modify space. Is it possible? Space cannot be modified, cannot move, cannot be modified or alternated. You have a pot, and you believe that the space in pot is different from the entire space. You believe that you are inside this body-mind complex. You believe that you are Cyril, and that's why all this bothering, all this identification. And you believe that you are inside this body-mind complex. Some people believe that they are behind the nose, or inside the skull, behind the eyes. And they say, sometimes they say, think, like what they are is inside the skull, which is ridiculous. It is the greatest joke that some people say, think, and they believe that they are inside here. That is completely absurd. What you are cannot be included in the skull or in the body or even in the apparent universes. The apparent universes appearing and disappearing as an illusion in you consciousness awareness Brahman. So what is the problem if there are appearing thoughts or not? You have nothing to do with all the appearances. What is the problem if in your room, what problem can have the space in your room if you put more objects in the room, in the space? Does the space have any complaints for that?
No.
No. The same with your real nature. Your real nature, your real self, with capital S, have no any problem if there are the appearances of thoughts or not, or any appearances of emotions or perceptions of any kind. It is completely unaffected, completely unmodified. It is attributeless. It can accommodate anything, but it cannot be modified by any means. So be happy, because what you really are is always total freedom and can never be affected, can never be harmed. What you are cannot be anthropomorphic. It is so subtle that it is always free, always perfect, without any problems. Focus on the screen of consciousness that you are. The sky, not the clouds. The clouds may do appear, the thoughts may do appear, but you are the sky. You are not the clouds.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It's 7:15.
Okay. If there is no other question, we can close the Satsanga for today. So namaste to all.
Namaste.
Thank you, Andrew.
See you soon.
Bye, Pippa.
Bye.
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः